If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Benjamin Franklin. All too often we try to tackle some goal, some objective, or start some company, or want to change some political idea only to come short. There is a famous South Park meme. It starts with an idea and finishes with what was desired.
This is where all our work is done.
So what are you gonna do with all these underpants that you steal?
Collecting underpants is just phase 1. Phase 1, collect underpants.
So what's phase 2?
Hey, what's phase 2? Phase 1, we collect underpants. Yeah, but what about phase 2? Well, phase 3 is profit, get it?
I don't get it.
You see, phase 1, collect underpants. Phase 2, phase 3, profit.
I'm afraid the most important part is if you want to go big, you need to learn to plan big. And one of the best places to start is by constructing a business plan. Now I get it, that sounds like work, it's time consuming, and leaves a lot to be figured out and articulated in writing well in advance before you start putting any of the pieces into action. But there is no other way. Different objectives will require different types and details of planning. You might not need to write out a 1,000-page document to organize a task you wish to achieve, but the size of this document will roughly reflect the size of the objective you wish to achieve. You don't want to overplan either, as that has the same effect as procrastination. But it's really better to be prepared and ready to take on anything than to come short and have to impulsively react to conditions that might affect your ambitions. This will only breed poor decision making and in the end be unsustainable to long-term growth of your ideas. A business plan is organic. It's never done. It's growing, adapting, and changing all the time. You may have different versions of it for different purposes for different viewerships. I would start with one document and as you need, divide and tackle more specific divisions for different audiences or needs. Have you ever seen the procedures, rules, or how-tos to any company? You probably use them all the time or have access to them. They are probably sitting in binders on a bookshelf in various locations. Those resources are the descendants or offsprings of the original business plan. Large corporate business plans could easily be hundreds of thousands of pages in length. Our overly regulated legal system probably makes all this look like a grade school essay. There is such a thing as too much. I'll address the burden of our legal system has in another video, but it's still hit and miss on what's good and bad. The process they went through is correct, but the volume it has created has made the entire system almost impossible to understand by the average person. We do need to impose limits, or we will suffer the inefficiencies of bureaucracy. One of the most important parts of any business plan is to analyze the risks and threats. The easy part is coming up with the idea or the thing that you want to achieve. Whatever that may be, it's the thing that inspired you to get started, and it's the thing that you will have when you have achieved your goal. That alone is nothing but a dream. You need to write your dreams down, but you also need to know what could turn it into a nightmare. If you don't know what risks are involved, how are you to solve or mitigate those concerns so they don't stop your goals dead in its tracks? In the end, this is where you will be spending most of your energy on, is overcoming challenges and obstacles that stand in your way of your objective. And if you're not willing to look your challenges dead in the eye, you might as well do nothing and waste nothing and just dream. So if you're ready, or as ready as you will ever be to challenging your obstacles, what other methods and tools could you use to help achieve your goals? Really, there is too many variables to try to illustrate in one video. You will have to figure out what strategies will work best for your application. But where I would start after you have started to work on your business plan is to consider a SWOT analysis. A SWOT analysis is a strategic planning technique used to help a person or organization to identify strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats related to business competition or project planning. In other words, it's a great way to start your brainstorming. Use what you have available, but ideally you will want to have an entire wall dedicated to your brainstorm. You will want a spot where you can throw down ideas and share those ideas with your team. You never know what new ideas could come up when you can see two pieces of information inside of each other that might not normally be present. It's also a great way to take information and ideas from the members of your team so the rest of the team can read it. Nothing's worse than having just one person holding onto the ideas that can't be looked at challenged, or improved on. Get them out there. Make them visual. Make it so you can touch and feel it. You've seen this in movies before. A crime scene detective collecting the evidence and stringing the story along with red string. This can look different for different projects. You could easily use a large whiteboard, or a bunch of sticky notes on a wall, or a combination of a lot of things. Be creative. Have fun with it, because the more you can play with it, the more you will internalize it. This also comes with the added benefit when getting new people caught up fast. Let's say you add someone new to the team. Now you have a visual story to show. They can ask specific questions to address what they feel they need to know to understand, and almost immediately open up the plausibility where they can contribute to the plan. If they see something missing or important, they can ask questions and potentially add to the brainstorm. Way faster than waiting till they get oriented. They can jump in immediately. It's also best practice to hold and think about ideas and concepts for as long as time permits. Your team puts together an idea, it seems like the golden opportunity, until someone 3 days later says, "Hey, what if we did this instead of that? Have you considered the effects this might have on that?" Sometimes you just have to push on an agenda, as there is limited time. But when there is time, let people stew on it. Sleep on it, and you will get better ideas. Another critical component is to have a question board. Have them written down and incorporated into the brainstorm. You never know how many different answers you can get to the same question when your team has both the time and numbers to stew on it. Sometimes an innocent question can turn into an important aspect of the plan. Planning can be a lot of fun when you have the right team and the right tools. Planning is only complicated when we fail to do it right, and when we do it wrong, it single-handedly jeopardizes the probability of achieving our goals. This video only illustrates where I would start. There's more to planning than what has been said, and I would encourage you to seek out and improve how you plan your goals. You might be doing some things right now, but always be seeking new ways to improve your abilities to turn your goals into your reality. Literally, plan it.